Human rights observers in Iran report that tens of protesters and ethnic Arab activists have been arrested in Khuzestan after the recent protests. Demonstrations against a sharp rise in the cost of basic commodities started on the evening of Thursday, May 5. The call went out due to an increase in the price of bread. 2 weeks ago, the Iranian government suddenly cut off flour subsidies and announced that traditional breads would be rationed. The prices of other food items that required flour also surged. The protests in Khuzestan have continued in the days that followed the call. On Friday, people were heard chanting slogans against Ibrahim Raisi in the streets. The internet in several cities in Khuzestan was slowed down or cut off for 3 days straight by the authorities. Despite this, many people managed to post videos of the protests online, showing riot police and other officers using tear gas, shooting and other violence to try and disperse them. According to Arab civil rights activists, a number of political prisoners who'd previously been released on bail earlier have been summoned back to prison. There have also been reports that security forces raided the homes of a number of civil rights activists in Khuzestan, warning them they would be killed if they participated in the protests. The number of those injured or possibly even killed is not yet known. The videos posted on social media show security forces have not only attacked people with tear gas, but they have been shooting at them as well. Last summer, Khuzestan was rocked by weeks of mass protests over water shortages. Also then, the internet was cut off for several days in a bid to stop people sharing news about the gatherings, or evidence of the brutal crackdowns they were met with. According to Amnesty International, during last year's protests at least 8 people were shot dead. Protests by ordinary people and trade unions over economic crises and resource shortages have been suppressed by the government in Iran year after year, each time more violently than before. In November 2019, a rise in fuel prices led to nationwide protests. Acting on orders, the military and security forces reacted with unprecedented violence, killing hundreds if not thousands. In 2021, a number of human rights organizations organized an international people's tribunal, known as the Aban Tribunal, in London to hold officials in the Islamic Republic accountable for the atrocities of November 2019. The tribunal panel received statements from hundreds of eyewitnesses, and heard in-person testimonies from 55 of them, during hearings in London. The verdict, due to be issued soon, will set out whether judges think the Islamic Republic committed crimes against humanity in its handling of the protests.